Yo, what is the deal, everybody? What is the deal, everybody? Welcome to another Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm your man, Wasted Talent. Salute to everybody in the chat. You guys know, as we always say, get wasted with your brother Wasted. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Share this thing out to all social media. This is a Juneteenth live. It's a national holiday, Juneteenth. And we have a lot of Raider news to get to you with. You know, a little under the weather today, but look, man, it is what it is, man. And these are the times that we shine the brightest, when we're under the weather. But it's all good, man. It's my problem, nobody else's, y'all. So let me tell y'all something. Get wasted with your brother Wasted. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We're gonna have us a good time tonight, man. And salute to everybody out there who is watching that does not already know that this stream is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, man. Play $5, get $50 instantly in lineups using code HMA. The link is in the description. And a little bit later, we're gonna go over a World Cup ticket, World Cup roster. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, the lineups that we're working with are going to be ones that will interest you guys. So listen, man, make sure you guys go on and follow me at Wasted Talent Raiders. See all my lineups over on Prize Picks. It's the best way to play sports, man. Now, guys, listen, I need for you guys to tell a friend and tell a friend, man. We do not have the prerequisite amount of people for me to be able to cook. My guy, Jonathan Meeks, 5377, became a YouTube member. Salute to my guy, Jonathan Meeks. And also, guys, if you want to become a YouTube member and join the Wasted Talent Army, here you are. Click on there and listen. Let me tell you something, man. There is going to be a Wasted Talent late night show about boxing and hip hop. So you guys let me know when you guys are ready to get rocking, man. You let me know, man. You lay it out, I'll play it out, y'all. But look, let's get into it. Now, guys, there's a lot of rumors swirling around. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the rumors. You know how we do here. And then if need be, if it's time to pour cold water on it, we're gonna pour cold water on it. That's just what we do here. You know what I mean? But let's get to the Jalen Carter stuff, right? Because there's a lot going on, right? Jalen Carter's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, is right now. I think he's kind of stoking the flames for this Jalen Carter thing. But listen, listen, today things are going to really, really heat up when it comes to this defensive tackle market, because Jeffrey Simmons and the Tennessee Titans just agreed to a 3-year contract extension that's reportedly worth $105 million, with $100 million guaranteed. So Simmons' new money comes out to be, $35.3 million per year, which is well above the previous defensive tackle leader, Chris Jones, which was $31.75 million in annual value, right? So if you add the next 2 seasons before the new extensions kicks in, Simmons is averaging a shade under $30 million per, right? And this development is something that is going to give Carter and the Eagles some framework to kind of work with to get a long-term extension. Now, there are rumors that the Eagles are not agreeable to working on a long-term deal with Jalen Carter, right? They're saying that, the Eagles are kind of shy on it, right? And we got to ask ourselves why, right? Has he been a malcontent? Has he been an issue in the camp, right? And the reason why we're speaking about this on the Raiders show is because there were a lot of trade innuendos thrown out there about Max Crosby and possibly Jalen Carter. But this is the thing, man. A swap doesn't make any sense as far as I'm concerned, right? Howie Roseman would love to get an elite pass rusher, right? But giving up a premier defensive tackle probably shouldn't be part of the process. Now, not like he does not have Jordan Davis, because he has other guys there and he has other options. But do you want to give up a guy that wreaks as much havoc up front as Jalen Carter, right? Now, a lot of this stuff was started by air quotes. I'm not even going to do that. It was started by, Hondo. Hondo posted a video on X claiming that the two teams are nuclear hot on Crosby, and he named the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers as frontrunners. And we spoke about this a couple of shows ago. Now, Howie Roseman making phone calls to gauge availability of one of the league's premier players is always what Howie Roseman does, right? It's what he does, right? There's only so many, premier edge rushers in the National Football League. But the trade proposal that we've heard, I really don't really think that it is something that is legitimate, right? I think it might be a little bit ridiculous, right? So what we got to do is we got to separate the real from the fake, right? We got to separate the real from the fake. Now, when you start talking about, how the Eagles feel about Jalen Carter, right? We don't know yet, but what we do know is now the iron has gotten hot. So if they are agreeable to moving on from Jalen Carter, I think that the Jeffrey Simmons situation might push them in the direction of either signing Carter or moving him, because of the fact that it is going to be a hell of a lot of money if they don't, because a kid that's as young as Jalen Carter, right, is going to have to top Jeffrey Simmons. So are the Eagles agreeable to paying a defensive tackle damn near $40 million per year? This is what we need to ask ourselves, right? Especially when you're in a situation when your quarterback is no longer on a rookie deal and you have a talented team, up and down that roster, back and forth. There is a situation where I can possibly see a world where Jalen Carter could be moved. I don't necessarily know if it would be to us. The whole nuclear hot thing, I don't really buy that. Salute to my guy Raider Bubba in the place. Jay Walk is in the place, man. Sniper's in the place. Raider Big John is in the place. Blasey Romo's in the place. Ayo Anthony's in here. Jack Gustafefi. Oh my God, Demokes is in here, man. Oh my God, the shot caller of the Gulags is in here. I mean, on double time, man. On double time. The Demokester is in here, y'all. I mean, he is the pod boss of the. You better not get out of line, or Demokes will leave a chocolate candy on your pillow or something like that. You don't want that. You don't want that. My guy Alex Turk is in the place, man. Salute. So look, we got to really examine this, right? Like when we start talking about the Jalen Carter thing, man, for me, I can see a world where the Eagles do try to move Carter because of what I just said, right? The price issue. And then if there's some issues behind the scenes that we don't know about Carter, right? Are there some things behind the scenes? Like, why would the Eagles be hesitant to pay Jalen Carter? And this is not conjecture. This is coming directly from Albert Breer at ESPN, right? He says, so the fact that we're into June without Jalen Carter having the deal is notable. And I guess if they do one now before the fourth season as a pro, then it come with flexibility for the team. If Carter won't give them that flexibility now, maybe he'll just wait another year, which would make this a little like the George Pickens in Dallas situation, where a team might want to see a little more from a player just from a character perspective before committing long term. Now, this is the thing with Jalen Carter, right? I have not really heard a whole lot about Jalen Carter, doing things off the field that would lead you to believe that he's not locked in on football. Not on the field, he's done a few things, but he's just a nasty defensive tackle. And I get it, man. But the thing is, Howie Roseman, and this is notable, usually extends first round draft picks early to save money, right? It's not typical for him to wait until the last year to do it. And it's the reason why I'm talking about this. Now, listen, he might need something to prove, man. Jalen Carter might need to have to prove something. And on top of that, They have Moria or Jomo, and he's been ascending the past couple of years, right? And Carter right now is a better player, but it could become a question of how much better and how much more money would they have to pay Jalen Carter as opposed to keeping Moro Ajomo. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so knowing how Howie Roseman thinks, Howie Roseman is a very, very nuanced and layered GM. He is very, very layered, man. He knows, he sees 3 moves down the road. He sees 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. That's just what Howie does, man. Now, there's a doomsday scenario where, you know, Carter could become a potential reset button, right? And where, you know, they can trade him or something like that and retool the team. But, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I would be surprised and I would be shocked if Howie Roseman didn't just extend Jalen Carter, because guys like that aren't growing on trees. But guys, I need to know what you guys think about that. I need to know what you think about that. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. And y'all, make sure y'all go hit that subscribe button over here, man. We need it, man. We need like your life dependent on it. Now, look, a lot of people are asking me, Wasted, what do you think of the cost, right? The fact that, you know, you'd have to give up draft capital and also pay him, I think the price goes down a little bit, you know? So I think, you know, it could be, you know, a second rounder and a third, or it could be a first. It could just be a first straight up and maybe a player. But I think that's what it would take to get Jalen Carter, because you know going into it that you are going to have to back up the Brinks truck and pay him. And that's something the Eagles haven't done yet. And I wonder why, because that is not the way how he operates. And I have a sinking suspicion that Ajomo is going to be the guy. I have a sinking suspicion, man. I have a sinking suspicion. Salute everybody in chat. Get Wasted with your brother, Wasted. Hey, my guy David Walker, man. Happy Father's Day, my brother, man. Appreciate you, bro. One of the great fathers out there, man. His son's out there hooping too, man. Boys is hooping. They hooping, man. Shout out to my guy Dave Walker, man. Stro, man, because I think Carter going to cost too much. If he fits the timeline, we need our high draft picks to get young talent on rookie deals. I'd rather give up less for a guy like Vedavia, and we're going to get into that. We are going to get into that, yo. Salute to my guy, Cable Belts, with the $2 slap of room. If the Raiders get Vedavia, is this the top 10 defense? I mean, it's hard to tell, bro, because you got to see who's healthy and who's not. I think they have a shot at being the top 10 defense, but what I think that would make them automatically the rank and file, you know, defense to beat? No, because you got so many question marks in the secondary. You have a lot of talent there, but you don't know whether they can play until they actually do. You don't know, right? Do I think Stooks is going to be that deal? Yeah. Do I think Zeke Masters is going to be a solid player, possible starter? Absolutely. Do I think Jermon McCoy is going to shock the world? And I think he's going to come out and play great. And I think that Jermon McCoy is the kind of guy that is going to have the same trajectory as Todd Gurley. He is going to be great when he's great, and when his knee fails him, that'll be it. My guy Joel Green. Why we waste draft capital when we had a DT and we traded the pick away and would have been cheaper? Because maybe they were higher on a player that they ultimately decided to take than any of the defensive tackles in this draft. They went late with that. You know, when you look at the impact of a defensive tackle, right? And especially if they're a bigger guy and they're not like a 3-tech. Look, a lot of these guys, man, these guys don't play. They might play less than 60% of your snaps. So teams don't necessarily like to draft defensive tackles early, because when you draft somebody early, you want them to be playing 85% of your snaps. You want them out there. You want them making a difference year one. I think with defensive tackles, they're just not out there a long time. They aren't. The big fellas are not out there a lot. Salute to my guy, Joel, man. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, so look, I want to get to the Vita Vea stuff, right? We'll get back to Jalen Carter. We'll transition, right? But the Vita Vea stuff is very, very, very interesting. Now, see, Vita Vea is a guy that I always wanted to draft. I wanted Vita Vea since he was coming out of college, man. And look, he is not holding out, but there is a little trepidation down there in Tampa Bay because, Todd Bowles is the coach. And his Pro Bowl defensive tackle is probably one of his crown jewels. And Todd Bowles spoke on, Vita Vea's character and stuff like that in the camp, right? They said Vea has been present at practices, but has still been observing on the sideline and not physically participating doing. So he avoids mini camp fines, and he also might consider, sitting out some mini camp. I mean, like real camp. So, look, this is a guy right now that is somebody who really, really his career would be altered by something like this. Like in a real major way, man. But this is the National Football League we live in, right? So you got to ask yourself, what would it take to get it done? And should the Raiders reach out? Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of the simple fact that John Spytek cut his teeth down with the Broncos. And I'm sure John Spytek probably had his hands all over taking Vita Vea. And if I'm being honest, you normally when you get guys like Vita Vea, man, they come in and they transform your defense from their experience. Look, let me tell you something, man. You need those kind of guys around. Salute to y'all. Salute to everybody out there. Get wasted with your brother wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. But yeah, man. Leaky T. He said, I've been pounding the table for Vita Vea. Paul, oh my God, man. You better go pound some salt. What the F is wrong with you? It's a family show, you effing bum. You're coming in here with that crap. I mean, listen, man. I know the Raider news isn't sick and silly like it normally is, but that does not mean that you could come up in here with your damn filth, Leaky. I mean, what the F is wrong with you, man? You coming up here with your damn filth. You watch your damn mouth.
Man, set your ass down.
The F is wrong with you. Oh man, but nah, Vita Vea, right? So for me, right, when I'm looking at Vita Vea, we got to look at what trades like that have gone down in the recent past and what teams have gotten for him. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think, man, because I'm trying to think, man. I want to see a contractual breakdown of Vita Vea's contract. Salute to y'all in the chat. Get wasted with your brother wasted, man. Yeah, man. Salute to y'all, man. Yeah, man. I should have had this pulled up. So look, this Vita Vea, and I'm trying to look at his contract right now, right? So the only thing I can think of is, man, I can't think of the last guy. Like I can't put him up there with like Albert Haynesworth and guys like that kind of got after the passer. Seriously, I'm really, really racking my brain. That's why I kind of went a little radio silent, man. Vita Vea has a contract that's, heavily complicated, especially by his age, man. He has $17 million in non-guaranteed base salary remaining on his contract. And listen, his contract dispute with the Bucs is something that can pick up steam if they allow this to continue to go on. Now, the way I'm looking at it is they're saying that acquiring him will legally lead the team to probably like a mid to late round draft pick. So I'm thinking Vita Vea goes for a second or a third. And if you can make something shake and you're willing to pay him, I think that I would prefer to have a guy like Vita Vea on this team, yo. And look, and I didn't want to bring up Ted Washington because I think Vita Vea is way, Ted Washington, Sam Adams, them kind of guys. I think what Vita Vea does in today's NFL is a little different. It's different eras, and I want to talk about who's better, who's greater, who's not. But for me, man, I have to view it from that prism, man. And the thing is, we got to ask ourselves, what would that new contract look like, right? So, listen, he is not a guy that gets after the passer, right? He is strictly a run stuffing guy, right? So when I look at him, I have to think about Dexter Lawrence. I would have to think about Dexter Lawrence, right? I got to think about who has what contract-wise. Seriously, man. That's pretty much how I would have to view it. I'm sorry, guys. There are a lot of people that are so you got Deron Payne, who is making $28 million. He's a $28 million cap hit. Trading him, that'd be something different, right? TJ Slayton is a big guy that we're thinking about. Now, Derek Brown from the Carolina Panthers. That's another guy that I'm surprised I don't hear more about. But when you start talking about Vita Vea, man, I'm thinking his contract will probably be around $28 to $30 million. Seriously. Vince Wilfork, definitely. But, bro, we talking about in today's days and times, like Vince Wilfork and all these guys that you guys are bringing up. What I'm trying to do is just try to find like a trade comparison. And there's nothing that's sticking out to me. There's nothing that's sticking out to me, man. I mean, he's 31 years old, right? So 31 years old. We say he's too old. You can't pay him that, right? But, Max Crosby's 30 years old. Myles Garrett got a hell of a lot of football left in him. Myles Garrett's a year older than Max. And in the way that Vita Vea would open up things for, this young Raider defense and having another vet that's up front that could really, really round this really special group of young talent into shape. And I think the reason why I'm even bringing this up, right, because Todd Bowles does not think that Vita Vea is going anywhere. I bring this up because John Spytek cut his teeth in Tampa Bay. And relationships, when it comes to anything in life, relationships matter. Relationships matter, man. They do. And I'd have no problem paying, Vita Vea what he's worth in the late 20s. Seriously, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Get wasted with your brother Wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I don't know what it is like lately, man. When I get on the show, man, I'm ready to rock and roll. And then I just like kind of hit a wall, man. Kind of hit a wall. My guy, Frank Weber, what the F you been? Chances are this staff sees something that they like and have already. And that'll be great. But this is a great subject to broach. Because this is something that I could see happening, right? Because once again, like I said, I got Chaos Raiders in a place. Once again, the John Spytek caveat. The John Spytek caveat, man. I mean, I'm telling you right now. John Spytek, man, is really deeply entrenched with that organization, man. He spent the last 9 years with Tampa Bay, serving as the assistant general manager. So he understands, he knows what Vita Vea got left. He understands what kind of player he's getting. And I'm going to be honest with you, if anybody takes a swing on a situation like that, man, then I got no respect for you. Salute to everybody in the chat. Get wasted with your brother Wasted, y'all. Yeah, brother, you know what? I am gonna have to take a pause from the calls, yo. I have to ask my oldest child to bring me a cup of coffee. I got to, y'all. I'm up here rambling. I need my coffee to get me back right. I need some coffee. This is crazy.
Hello?
Yeah. Hey, baby, can I have a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do me a favor. Just don't make it super sweet.
Okay.
Thank you, baby. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and look, man, I say go for it too, bro. Yo, listen. I say if you're gonna do anything, do it now so you know what you're up against. Because look, the one thing that this team does need, and I know Pegues and these guys are here and they're gonna earn their money, right? We understand. We got some young rookies. The one thing that we don't have, right, besides Max, is we don't have a defensive tackle that's on this roster that is that level of player. Now, let me ask you guys a question, right? Say, for instance, you have a situation if you trade Vita Vea for a third and trade Adam Butler along with that. Would that be something that you guys would be agreeable to? My guy, Joel Green. He goes, I know we're under a new regime. Salute to my guy, Joel Green from Twitter, man. Appreciate you, bro. Make sure you tell a friend and tell a friend to subscribe over there on Twitter. Subscribe over there on Instagram and TikTok. We are trying to grow these platforms. Listen, I need to ask you guys. I'm giving you guys a challenge up here too. I'm going to get back to it. We got to get every single social media platform that I am a part of. We have to get all of them over 20,000. All of them. It should be. But he goes, I know we're in a new regime and they're going to have to prove what they can do with our roster. What free agents, what traded players, you know what I mean, on paper can actually make the roster more successful in the win column this year. I believe this year to be a 10-win team. Bro, I think it's a little early for that. You have to ask yourself and really be honest with yourself about what kind of roster we have right now. Because we really don't know, right? Like, because, you know, and there was an article about this today. Salute to the Marcia. The Raiders have entered into this season with a lot of optimism, but according to NFL.com digital content creator Jeremy Bergman, the Raiders are among the teams least likely to reach the postseason this year, largely because of one major obstacle, the brutal schedule that we have. You know, the Raiders are set to face the 7th toughest schedule slate in the National Football League, with opponents carrying a .529 winning percentage from the previous season. Now, that difficult road can make it extremely challenging for the franchise to kind of turn the corner, right? And to make our first playoff game since 2021. And listen, it's the thing, man. We don't know how Cousins are going to play or how things are going to go with Mendoza. But moreover, right, I don't really like to put a lot of credence into stuff like that because of the simple fact, and salute to my guy, Joel Green, man. Appreciate you, bro. I don't like to put credence into stuff like that because of the simple fact that, yo, people get injured. You don't know how the other teams in our division are going to play. We're just assuming that everything's going to be boilerplate. We are assuming that the Chiefs will still be good and they'll have good fortune, because that's what a lot of this is about in the NFL. It's about having the good enough fortune to make sure that your guys stay healthy. On paper, it looks great. On paper, it looks phenomenal. But guess what? All it takes is one catastrophic injury. All it takes. That is all it takes. And this is the thing. The one thing you need on this roster with some of these guys that can get after the pass is a guy that can stop the run and control the middle of that field. And Vita Vea is 31 years old. He's 31, man. He's 31. Now, when we start looking at players, you know, that means that, you know, Vita Vea would most likely, you know, if he could stay healthy, he probably would retire around like 35 or 36 years old. 35, 36 years old, right? So you're looking at, on the high end, another 4 to 5 seasons, right? Another 4 to 5 seasons, right? Like let's look at that. Vince Wilfork retired when he was 35, right? So look, Haloti Ngata. Haloti Ngata, he retired. He retired. He retired. He had a 13-year career. Haloti Ngata was about 34 years old when he retired. 34, 35 years old. Me make sure that because I'm subtracting right now on the fly. He was 35, like I said. So Haloti Ngata, Vince Wilfork, two very great players, two guys who do a lot of what Vita Vea is doing. So on the conservative end, maybe another 3 years out of Vita Vea. So with the Raiders, right, you don't want to give up a whole lot, but he's a guy that you might want to bring in to kind of help some of the young guys that you got in the roster already kind of round into shape a little bit. Yo, unknown Raider guys in the place. Where you been, man? Oh, yo. Crisis King, my guy. So we in agreement Jalen Carter is a pipe dream now, or is a player swap with Max? Now, a player swap with Max doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Right? That one doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. I mean, look, I can see a world where it happens. I can see a world where it happens, right? Like I said, man, the Jeffrey Simmons deal is something that you gotta pay attention to, right? Because of the fact that Jalen Carter is going to garner more money than a Jeffrey Simmons because of his age. But because of the age. So that's the thing. And we got to ask ourselves, are the Eagles willing to pay Jalen Carter? I mean, he's a rising star, right? Things could go completely off the rail. But last year, they started floating the idea around trading Jalen Carter. Some people floated the idea to trade Jalen Carter to acquire Max Crosby. They're saying that the Eagles are hesitant to extend Jalen Carter. There are concerns about his attitude, his work ethic. And listen, the logic is, look, man, if you're not going to pay him, flip him for a proven game record, right? But for the Raiders, you want to make sure that if you do deal Crosby, you get a younger player. And look, I'd be all in agreement with this if there wasn't an issue with effort. Effort is the one thing that you can't really teach. It's one thing that is evidently shown. It's the one thing that's free. Giving a high level of effort is something that you don't have to pay for. But it's also something that is wholly and greatly important when you're bringing in players that not only are you going to have to trade for, but you're going to have to pay. And see, that's one of the biggest issues for me with the Jalen Carter situation. Now, my guy CGR said, who do you think makes the biggest impact on defense? CGR, I got to put a pin in that. We will get back to that. We will get back to that. I want to finish up with this Carter Vita Vea stuff, though, because I think that's what the nation wants to talk about, right? Now, look, man, there have been a lot of Max Crosby trade rumors and stuff like that. Look, they're going to continue to be that way. They're going to continue to be that way. Just they're not going to go. I know you guys think they're not those. When the Raiders traded him and Max wanted to leave, there is no longer that obstacle of once a Raider, always a Raider. He don't want to go nowhere. He go kicking and screaming. No. This is a guy who wanted to. So never, ever forget that. Never forget that. And I'm sure that John Spytek doesn't forget that. But what I will tell any team that wants the services of Max Crosby, the basement is what they were offered by the Baltimore Ravens. If you want to sweeten the deal and really get him, you have to be in a position to deal with that. You got to be in position to deal with that. Now, Crosby's been linked to a bevy of teams, and we know why, right? The 49ers, the Eagles, the this, the that, right? And the thing is, the Eagles make a lot of sense because if you're going to get rid of Max and they got a guy that they don't want to pay, everybody's taking on each other's headache, right? Not a headache, because Max is never a headache, but what I mean is we are taking on each other's issue. You know, the Eagles acquired Jonathan Greenyard in the offseason, right? They went out and got AJ Espinoza. Arnold Ebeka, I can't pronounce his name, right? But they also have Nolan Smith. They got, Jalen Hunt in the fold. So they got pass rushers, right? But they don't have anyone that is equal to Max Crosby. And that might be something that they're looking for. They don't have anybody that is the equal. A little darker. Oh. Yeah, bring it down. Salute to my salute to my guy Graf, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, but Jonathan Greenyard, bro, he definitely is. And see, this is the crazy thing about the Jalen Carter thing. It always makes me just a little sick to my stomach that we even got to think about this, because he should have been drafted by us. We should be a team that is really considering whether we're going to re him up. Because this has now become, to me, a situation that is advantageous to a guy like Jalen Carter, right? So what we got to ask ourselves is this, right? Is the relationship he has with Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean a strong enough relationship to kind of get him, to try to get him in here, right? And get him under freaking control. Like, because it seems like Jalen Carter is like Michael Myers and his teammates from college are like Dr. Loomis or something like that. It's like the monster and Dr. Frankenstein. Does he need people in the building that keeps him on the straight and narrow? Because when he's on the straight and narrow, he's one of the very best. But what you got to understand is what you're signing up for. You get rid of that guy. If you give them anything of value, not only are you giving up value, but you also have to pay him. So for me, right, if I'm going to go after anyone, I'm going to look at the Vita Vea situation. I'm going to ask myself, if I'm the Buccaneers, how close are they to winning? Right? Are they going to pay Vita Vea? He is 31 years old. I just gave you guys 2 retirement ages. Vince Wilfork at 35, Haloti Ngata at 35. The clock is ticking. The grains of sand of time, like as the world turns, are pouring in to the hourglass. What is Vita Vea going to ask for, right? And what does that contract look like? Does it have trap doors everywhere? Now, look, there's a new attitude in Tampa Bay. People say they would never trade Vita Vea. People also said they would never trade or get rid of Mike Evans. And that has happened. And bro, we all know why the Raiders were gun shy on drafting Jalen Carter, because of that racing accident, and somebody had lost their life, and then you tie that in with the Henry Ruggs situation, the optics of drafting a Jalen Carter at that point, right after the Henry Ruggs thing. I think it was a bit much to deal with for the Raiders, right? So sometimes, right, the court of public opinion sways the better judgment of people that are in positions of power in the National Football League. And sometimes, and I'm be honest with you, man, if there's anything that I miss Al Davis for, right? Because look, at this point, the Raiders are in a good spot, right? Like financially, we're in a new city, we got a beautiful stadium. And it is looking like we have a situation where they are cleaning up, they're handling all family business, right? It's like Michael Corleone at the end of the first Godfather. We are handling all family business. The one thing that I miss about Al Davis, if nothing else, is the fuck you attitude he used to have, the what everyone thought about what he did, and the fuck you attitude he had for the league, and the fuck you attitude he had for the media, and the fuck you attitude he had. And excuse me, guys, what the hell is wrong with me? This is a effing family. Oh my God, I done dropped 3 F-bombs. 3 effing F-bombs. This is a family show. On a show. Oh my God. Wow. I mean, what the F is wrong with me? Yes, that's what it was. Look, I felt a little Al Davis right now. Felt a little Al Davis. Do you want to be a waiter? Do you want to be a Raider? You want to be a Raider? You want to be a Raider, don't you? My guy Thompson family fishing, man. I know. This is a family show. It's a family show. My guy Blasmo is sweet virgin ears. This is crazy. But at the end of the day, right? That right there is what I miss, right? And I think that had Al Davis been alive, Jalen Carter would have been a Raider. There ain't no way he wouldn't have been, right? But when I think of all of this, right? How plausible do I feel like this is? I don't know if it's very plausible. I don't. Now, listen, we're going to get into some other things and we're going to get out of here, man. We've been rocking and rolling for 40 minutes, man. And also, I need to let you guys know that this stream, like every other stream this season, is brought to you by Prize Picks. Play $5, get $50 in lineup instantly using code HMA. The link, CGR has it in the chat, and the link is in the video in the description. And listen, guys, I gotta tell you, man, I don't really know a lot about the World Cup. So I have not made any plays. I'm gonna need for some of you guys to go on Prize Picks, follow me at Wasted Talent Raiders. And I need you guys to show me your lineups. Maybe you guys can give me a little bit of advice on how I do this whole World Cup thing, man. I mean, but it's real easy, man. You do more, right, in the recent matchups, or you say I'm going less. If you're in a tough spot, the team hits the projection, you're in there, man. You are in there. This app is really easy to use, man. On a few player stats, you lock your lineup, and then you're ready to rock and roll, man. Listen, Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. It is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Make sure you go on over. Follow me at Wasted Talent Raiders. You can see my last few lineups. Oh, my God. Finn. Hey, yo, Anthony, you were about to get unceremoniously. Yeah, you know what? Do the opposite of me, bro. Especially when it comes to the World Cup. I don't have a clue. I'm going to tell you something. I know what I know. I know what I don't. I do not know football. I don't, man. I don't know. I'm going to be real with you. But let's get back to it, y'all. So, there's a lot of other things that are going on, right? But getting back to the ranch, I'm going to be real with you. These like Max Crosby trade rumors, they're going nowhere. They're going nowhere. They're going nowhere. Believe you me. They're going nowhere, guys. And they're going to continue. They're going nowhere. Salute to everybody in the chat. So let's get into a few more things. Guys, in the chat, you want to talk about something, put it down there. We are rocking and rolling. Now, there was a report that came out that, the Las Vegas Raiders will not pursue Stefon Diggs during his offseason. I'm going to be real with you guys. I think it's going to be rough for Stefon Diggs to find work. I think the juice isn't worth the squeeze with him, right? At this point in his career, I think he's going to be in a tough spot procuring employment. And listen, in other words, water's wet. We knew that the Raiders weren't going to pursue Stefon Diggs, man. You know what I mean? And that's a frequent topic amongst Raider fans. I don't think it makes any sense. You have a whole room of young guys you're trying to develop. And, they say that he's a great teammate. But the thing is, you are defined by your football character. You're also defined by your actual character. And I think a lot of the shenanigans and the things Stefon Diggs has going on outside of his football career is one of the reasons why you wouldn't bring him in. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but Charles Snowden, man, Charles Snowden has found a home, man. The Raiders released Charles Snowden. And look, man, Charles Snowden got signed by the Cowboys. He got signed by the Cowboys. You know, I hate to see Charles Snowden go because he's a guy that was really, really productive with really limited snaps. He was a guy who was really productive with really, really limited snaps. I like Charles Snowden as a rotation guy. I just think that, you know, he got himself into a little trouble, man, and it is what it is, man. I'm surprised that they kept him as long as they did, man. You know, after he got that deal, I know that you can't just go around releasing guys when they make mistakes off the field, because you'll never, especially in the city, you're in a major media hub, you're in the entertainment capital of the world in Las Vegas. Things are gonna happen, right? So, but when it is a guy like Charles Snowden, I didn't know that his rope was that damn long. I didn't think, and pause if necessary, but I didn't think that Charles Snowden was gonna make it out of that next season, man. I really did not think that. I was definitely wrong about that, man. Definitely wrong about that. Now, guys, there are some rumors about, you know, our guy Jack Bech. They're talking about he can't separate. I did a pre-recorded video I'm going to drop about that. What I will tell you is this on the way out, right? Because we're about to run the train back into the train station, guys. I think that, you know, we got what we needed here. We got what we needed here, man. My guy, man, E-Rock. The Dallas love our leftovers. Yes, they do, man. But at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, when we start thinking about this stuff, right? At the end of the day, Jack Bech, man, is a guy who played tight end in college. He is a guy who probably needs to be in pads. He's a guy that, you know, needs to be in a different kind of scenario. Like, we're making roster projections, and this is not just for Jack Bech, right? There's a lot of stuff that we're hearing and that we're seeing ourselves coming out of OTAs and coming out of mini camp. In a true test of all of this stuff, and I want you guys to remember this, the true test of all of this really will be decided by when they put pads on. The true test of all of this will be decided when people get hit. The true test of all of this will be decided when people have to make business decisions with their bodies. And not in the way that Demokes does when he is the pit boss of the gulags in his measure. I'm talking about decisions with their body. For real. Then, and only then, will you see how good, inept, or whatever otherwise Jack Bech is. Salute to my guy, OG Crypto and NTS, man. Appreciate you, mate. Always showing love, bro. Appreciate you, my dog. But, yo, when people start getting hit, that's when you can make the determination and the summation on Jack Bech. Until then, we know nothing. There's a lot of guys you guys are hearing that are showing up and showing out. But like Mike Tyson most eloquently said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, guys. Guys, listen, this has been another Raider Nation Unlimited. This stream has been powered and brought to you by Prize Picks. The link is in the description. Follow me over at Wasted Talent Raiders. Love every single one of y'all. You guys have a great night. And I want you guys to remember something. And I don't want you to forget. The New York Knicks are NBA world champions. Whether you like it, whether you love it, learn to live with it, because it's the best thing going today. You guys get out of here, man. We are out of here, man. Peace.